All right, welcome back, Truth Seeker. Going to talk about NFL Week 7. Posted the initial notes. We will update them throughout the week. 14 games this week, 4 teams on a bye. Again, it's already NFL Week 7. Home teams. We're going to do a better job keeping track of total team records for the entire season because it does seem to be a good indicator, especially in the primetime games, of what the outcome will be. Just as we documented yesterday, we thought the Packers had the better riddle to win for Monday night. And in doing so, they got the 41st home win of the season for all NFL teams. Green Bay equals 41. Mason Crosby with the winning points 41 days after his birthday. The last Sunday night football game, the Steelers got the 50th away win of the season for all teams. Pittsburgh's 50, Steelers is 50. So I think this might be a great clue for primetime games going forward, keeping track of this. And Thursday night football, unfortunately, Denver and Kansas City, they don't have 42 or 51 connections. So I don't think it's going to help us out with that one, but perhaps it'll end up helping us out with Sunday night football, Monday night football again. Chiefs at the Broncos. The Chiefs are on a 2-game losing streak. And on the surface, what jumps out about this game is if the Chiefs did win, they would be 4-0 away. We know TNF is 40. And if the Broncos lost, they'd be 1-3 at home. TNF also 13. 1-3, 13, 4-0, 40. The only thing on the surface that could go against the Chiefs is they could fall to 4-3 in Colorado. Colorado is 43 like football. They don't call them the Colorado Broncos, though. So I'd be more inclined to go with those TNF numbers. Plus, the other surface thing is Mahomes could improve to 10-3 away, regular season and all time. Broncos is 103. Just like earlier this year, we saw Rodgers get his 103rd win in the regular season against the Broncos. And one thing I should have thought of for yesterday's game that was there as well is Rodgers got his 105th regular season win yesterday on the 14th of the month. If you add 1 through 14 together, it equals 105. So it's one other thing for Rodgers. But Mahomes can improve 10-3 away, and if he did, the TNF numbers would hit in the away and home records. So I do see actually one other surface level thing that could actually go against the Chiefs. Thursday night football does equal 257, the 55th prime. The Chiefs' next loss to the Broncos is 55 in the regular season. So that is one other thing to consider. Mahomes has not lost 3 games in a row before. This would be a first. So gonna have to think about that a little bit more, but again, the quarterback home and away records are usually good indicators. Mahomes fell to 8-3 at home, losing this last week. Texans equals 83, who we lost to. So 10-3 away against the Broncos would make a bunch of sense. With regards to Flacco, he does have something right on the surface too. He could get his 64th home win, and Kansas City Chiefs is 64. That's all-time, though. That's not the regular season. So all-time, he could get the 64th home win. In the regular season, he could stay on 98 wins, and Kansas City Chiefs is 98. So going to have to do some more homework on that one. But again, the TNF numbers and that Broncos 103, I think, are a little bit better riddle there for the Chiefs. If Flacco could get his 64th in the regular season, I'd give that more weight. But the all-time, perhaps not. The Rams and the Falcons. So on the surface, if the Rams lost, they'd be 3-4. Falcons does equal 34. If the Falcons lost, they'd be 1-6. Los Angeles 53, the 16th prime. If the Falcons won, they'd be 2-5. Falcons also 25. So surface, you can make an argument either way. The Rams are 47, 28, and 2 versus the Falcons in the regular season. If they did win, they'd get their 48th win in Atlanta. Atlanta's 48, and they'd stay on 28 losses. There's a mathematical relationship with 28 and 7. 28 is the 7th triangular number. It's week 7. So that could be important. Triangular numbers definitely important. 21, the 6th triangular number. We saw plenty of 21 and 6 in week 6. Again, the Patriots began the week by winning by 21 points after putting up 21 at halftime. Last night, somebody told me to look at this again because last night the thing that I caught on the screen was that Rodgers was going for his 21st career game-winning drive, which he got to conclude week 6. What I didn't notice was at the bottom of the screen, he had 5 versus the Lions. So he finished with his 6th game-winning drive versus the Lions and his 21st of his career. 21, the 6th triangular number. You had 1 through 6, it equals 21, plus 7 more is 28. So that's the relationship with 7 and 28. Let's see. Goff could get his 28th regular season win. So he'd become 28 and 17 in the regular season. Atlanta, Georgia equals 59, the 17th prime if he stayed on 17 losses. Make a note about that. You can get that 28th regular season win in week 7. And the Falcons would stay on 28, or not the Falcons, the Rams would stay on 28 losses as well. For Dan Quinn, assuming he's still the coach, it doesn't seem like he's going to get fired. I imagine they would have done already, but the game's going to be on his 40th day of his age. Atlanta Falcons is 40 in the most pure cipher. And then Matt Ryan, the game's on his 157th day of his age, the 37th prime, big Los Angeles number. If Ryan lost to the Rams, he'd be 4-1 overall. LA's 41. If he won, though, he'd become 3-0 at home versus the Rams. Rams is 30. Just kind of like how the 49ers became 3-0 away by beating the Rams. So there's a few more things to think of. The Dolphins and the Bills. When was the last time Buffalo was a 17-point favorite? The Dolphins' next win against the Bills is 27. If they got that, they'd even it up at 27-27 in the regular season. Buffalo and Miami both equal 27. That would be the big upset narrative. Let's see. They said they're going to start Rosen even though Fitzpatrick played better. If Rosen loses, he'd be 3-14. Pi 3.14. Again, those pi riddles usually hit. So Rosen could fall to 3-14. He'd be 2-7 away. Buffalo equals 27. So his away record would make sense with the lost Rosen. And with regards to Allen, if he won, he'd be 6-3 at home. Buffalo 63. So you can get a Buffalo tribute in each quarterback's record as long as the Bills win. Big favorites. So I have to think about more if they can cover that spread of 17 points. 17 is the 7th prime number. It is week 7. There might be several games decided by 17 points this week. Okay, the Jaguars at the Bengals. The Bengals still looking for that first win of the season. The Jaguars are 12-9 versus the Bengals in the regular season. They're 4-6 at the Bengals, so if they lost, they'd be 4-7. Of course, Ohio's 47. If Minshew lost, he'd be 2-4 in the regular season. Bengals is 24 in the most pure cipher. It does have an S, though, so Bengals is also 33. Thinking about Marone's stats. Taylor, the coach of the Bengals, the game's 163 days after his birthday, the 38th prime. If Dalton got the win, it would be his 38th win at home for Dalton. So, interesting how the coach's birthday syncs up with Dalton's potential win record. Just trying to think of Ohio equals 16 as well if the Bengals won. So I guess you could get 2 Ohio tributes. Let me see here. If Bengals won, they would be 1-6, Ohio 16. But yeah, gonna have to think about that one more. There's probably something else there that I'm overlooking right now. The Vikings and the Lions. Notice if Minnesota wins, they're 5-2. That number that we see so often with Minnesota. Minnesota 52. Again, they hosted Super Bowl 52. The Lions are 2-1. 1-1 at home. If they lost, they'd be 1-2 at home, kind of like 12. Detroit 37, the 12th prime. Vikings 37, the 12th prime. So that Minnesota 52, it just comes up so much with Minnesota. It's hard to ignore that. Let's see. Let me check something about Lions. I think it equals 30 in reverse. Yeah, it does. Yeah, Lions is 30. Zimmer's next loss all time is 37, Detroit number, but again, that's his all time and not his regular season. He could get his 52nd win and his team could improve to 52. Or he could get his 52nd win and his team could improve to 5-2. That's interesting. Check something out about Ford Field real quick. Ford Field's 52 as well. All of a sudden I was like, wait a minute, is Ford Field 52? So yeah, I gotta lean towards the 52 Minnesota thing. It just comes through so often, and it is really strange how Zimmer can get his 52nd win and his team can become 5-2. Let's see. Yeah, I got to think about Stafford's numbers more, but that 52 is what really jumps out. The Raiders and Packers game, the narrative for the Packers to lose would be for them to fall to 5-2 because Raiders is 52. I don't think that's going to happen, though. Notice they can get to 4-1 at home. Green Bay's 41, Oakland's 41. And there's a couple other things here, too. If the Raiders lost, they'd be 5-8 versus the Packers. Oakland's 58. The Packers would be 8-5. Green Bay, Wisconsin, 85. Bart Starr died at age 85. The narrative for the Raiders would be to become 4-4 at the Packers with the win because Packers is 44. But looking at Carr's stats, Carr's next loss is his 28th away loss. Packers is 28 in the most pure cipher. And on the other side, Rodgers, he could get his 115th all-time win. Raiders is 115. And he could stay on 58 regular season losses. Oakland's 58. And I see one other thing, actually, too. 7, when you write out 7 as a word with the alphabetic order, it's 65. He could get his 65th home win in Week 7 as well. And stay on 17 losses in Week 7. So the 7 thing fits in, the Oakland thing fits in, the Raiders thing fits in, plus Carr's loss makes sense. Plus I'd argue that even though you can make an argument both ways with the head-to-head record, I think it's better with the Raiders W. So Did I just say Raiders W? I meant to say Packers W if I misspoke. I like the Packers here on the surface. Raiders have a prayer through the 5-2 and 4-4 thing, but it lining up on both sides with the quarterback with the Green Bay win, it's hard to go against. And we've seen that Rodgers' all-time stats definitely matter this year, just like how he got 113 all-time against Dallas. But then again, almost all of his stats lined up regular and all-time against that Dallas game. The Texans and the Colts. This one's a tricky one. Jacoby Brissett. He was actually, maybe not. Hold on. Did Brissett play for the Texans for a minute? I swear he did, because I remember him playing against the Patriots for the Texans. Let me make sure that's true. That was the year that the Patriots went on to win Super Bowl 51 in Houston. Brady was out with... I forget why Brady didn't play in that game. Was that the year he was suspended for the first 4 games? Okay. So Brissett played for New England, now Indianapolis. Okay. So, Texans are 8-26 versus the Colts. When Andrew Luck was on the Colts, they really dominated the Texans. And hold on, let me make sure that... Wait a minute. Let me make sure I didn't forget to do something here. Okay. We got another game November 21st. All right, so week 7, week 8, week 9, week 11, week 12. They play again week 12, November 21st. All right. Okay, so the Colts, again, 26-8 versus the Texans. 14-3 at home. There's your pie. 3-1-4. And 27-8 all-time. They could get the 28th win all-time in Week 7. Again, 28, the 7th triangular number. I'd rather look at the regular season stats, but that mathematical relationship is there. So... if the Texans lost, they'd be 2-2 away. Texans 79, the 22nd prime. Okay. Watson is 8-6 away. 18-10 in the regular season. Colts is 66, the 11th triangular number. If he got his 11th regular season loss. And Jacoby Brissett, what stands out about him is if he lost, he would be 3-1 versus Houston. We know Houston and 31 is the strongest pairing. And he's 2-0 at home against Houston today. Houston does have an S in it, so it is also 40, but that 31 plays the most. So that's probably the most standout thing on the surface is that Brissett could become 3-1 versus Houston by losing. But definitely going to have to look closer at that one. So, we'll see a lot on the surface. Indianapolis is a 1.5-point favorite. Okay, the Cardinals and Giants. If Shermer lost, the Giants coach, he would get his 39th career loss. Out of the 50 states, only 2 sum to 39 in the most pure cipher, Arizona and New York. So, I see on ESPN, it seems like everyone this week is talking about how much better Daniel Jones is than Kyler Murray and how they see him having the better career because he's more of a traditional passer, whereas Murray's more of an athlete. So, I feel like they're setting up a narrative, to get in the people's minds that, Murray couldn't beat Daniel Jones. He's the better quarterback. I just heard all the experts say it on ESPN. And notice if the Giants lose, they would be 2-5. Giants equals 25 in the most pure cipher. Also 34 if you use the rule for S. But just out of all the surface level stats, the one that jumps out to me is just that Shermer could get that 39th loss. Arizona, New York, 39. '49ers and Redskins. 49ers going to Washington 5-0. Washington 50. San Francisco a 10-point favorite coming into this game. The 49ers have 17 wins versus the Redskins, which is interesting because it's week 7. 17, the 7th prime number. Week 7. 49ers have a winning record at the Redskins. They're 8-7 there today. And this actually might be the Redskins' 88th season. Let me check that real quick. It is the Redskins' 88th season. Now that San Francisco's at the symbolic 5-0, I just wonder if there could be a surprise here. Just kind of like how in Super Bowls they went from 5-0 to 5-1. So if they lost, they'd be 8-8 versus the Redskins in their 88th season. And let's see. Shanahan picked up his 15th win versus the Rams. Rams is 15 in the most pure cipher. Oops, I forgot to write this. 1-0 with Redskins. So Callahan, what stands out about him is he's 16-17 in the regular season as a head coach. He used to coach the Raiders before he coached the Redskins, who we just began with. If he won, he'd be 17-17 in week 7. Again, 17, the 7th prime number. Caller?
Hey, Zach, there's 2 games that I see where it's the 29th matchup and the team can stay on 10 losses in the matchup, and that's the Niners can stay on 10 and Tennessee can stay on 10 losses.
That's true. 29, the 10th prime.
Yep, so that's the little point I want to make on that.
Yeah, that's a good observation. Yeah, good work.
All right, man.
All right, thanks. So, yeah, he's right about that. 49ers are 17-10-1, so they played 28 games. 29th game, 10th prime. 49ers could stay on 10 losses. The way the 49ers have been playing, it's just hard to imagine them losing. I mean, the Redskins haven't looked very good unless they're going to become a formidable team under Callahan. But the Week 7 riddle is there for an upset. 17-17 in Week 7 for Callahan, it's possible. And again, that would keep the 49ers on 17 wins. Did I go over that Titans game already? Or did I not get to it yet? Okay, yeah, we didn't cover that game yet. Alright, so got to keep digging on that one. Here's the Titans game, what he was just saying. So the Chargers at the Titans. Whoever wins this game is going to be 3-4. Tennessee equals 34. And maybe he didn't say Titans because it looks like it's going to be the 43rd game. Titans equals 43. So does Chargers. Caller?
Hey, I did look ahead, too, because I am a 49er fan. You know, I live down here in the Bay Area. And I don't see them actually losing until that Monday night game against Russell Wilson. They would be 8-0. And you know how Russell Wilson improved to 8-1 on Thursday Night Football?
Right. Russell Wilson 8-1.
I think maybe Seattle would upset them to take over the lead in the division that night.
Yeah, it's possible. Russell Wilson equals 81. And again, Russell Wilson's also 54, like Super Bowl 54, and the season began by him playing the Bengals, and that's where he's from, Cincinnati. So,
yeah, I looked at the upcoming games with the Panthers and the Cardinals and the Redskins, and I don't see them losing either one of those games. And then they would go in 8-0 on that Monday night game, and Russell Wilson, that 81, man, you know, it comes through.
Yeah, that very well could be the script. That would make a lot of sense.
Yep.
So, hey, before you go, didn't you say the Titans, it was the 29th game?
It was either that one or it was the Seahawks. I can't remember which one it was. It might have been the Seahawks.
Okay. All right. I'll go back over it. All right. Thanks, man.
All right.
See you. Let's see. Hold on. No, it's not the Seahawks game either. I'll have to go back over it, make sure I didn't miss it. Okay, so the Chargers are 27-14-1 versus the Titans. So there's that 28 again. Again, 28, the 7th triangular number. So if the Chargers got the win here, they'd improve to 3-4 in Tennessee. Tennessee 34. But they do have a clue with that 28th win in Week 7. Mathematical relationship. Based on how 21-6 came up, I'm thinking 28-7 might be a big combo this week. Caller?
Did you see who Rivers had to fight with on the end of the game?
Huh?
Did you see Rivers getting the altercation at the end of the game with the Steelers game? You were just talking about the Chargers game.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Michael Hilton.
Okay, and we just had the death of his family member. Okay.
And of course, it's Philip Michael Rivers. And then he has a fight with Michael Hilton.
Right.
330 days from the Super Bowl and 7 months and 4 days from the day of his birth to the game last night.
Wait, are you saying the last? Wait, which Super Bowl was 330 days ago?
No, for his birthday to the Super Bowl coming up is 330 days.
Oh, okay.
Like 33, and then from his birthday to the game tonight was 7 months and 4 days.
Okay.
Like 74.
Right.
Michael Hilton. How appropriate.
Right, 33.
And of course, Baron Hilton founded the Chargers. And he's the last one left standing from the original owners that founded the AFL.
Right.
He was the last one. So, lots of clues out there.
Yeah.
For all my Charger haters. So, you said I wasn't going to call until they're eliminated. They're in. We know that, right?
Well, that's true. It's not over till it's over.
Remember, now we have a team that got in. They were the first. We talked about 0-4. Started also. A team got in at 7-9, and they played the Chiefs the last game of the season.
Right.
How perfect is that? Right.
Right.
Would that be the game that they get in, or they get knocked out?
Yeah, remains to be seen.
So Michael Hilton, for all your Charger haters, was out of fight with Philip Michael Rivers.
Yeah.
All right, man.
All right.
Talk to you.
All right. See you. Okay. Yeah, the problem with Rivers stats is that he's 53 and 53 away, and Tennessee Titans is 54 on the most pure cipher. So, I mean, how do you know which way that one goes? But again, the Chargers, they could get that 28th win in Week 7. So I think the 28-7 might play this week. Rivers is 7-1 versus the Titans in the regular season. The majority of those games have been at home. He's 2-1 at Tennessee. And so again, it's Week 7. He could stay on 7. If he lost, he'd be 2-2. Remember, Titans equals 79, the 22nd prime. He'd become 2-2 at Tennessee. Could also improve to 9-1 all-time versus the Titans, like the 13th triangular number. So, Lynn has a chance at his 17th regular season loss as well. Caller?
Hey, that other 29 was the Saints game. They could stay on 10 losses at Chicago.
Okay, that's a good observation.
Yeah, that was the other one. Sorry about that.
That's all right. No problem, man. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Okay. So Lynn could pick up his 17th regular season loss as well. Okay. The Saints and Bears game. So this will be the 29th game in the regular season. And it'll be the 31st game all time. So in the regular season stats, you don't have a connection to 10. In the all-time stats, because it's 31, which is the 11th prime, If the Saints lost, they'd get their 11th loss all time in the 31st game. 31, 11th prime could get 11th loss in 31st game. So it is true that it's the 29th regular season game, but the 10 comes up in the all-time stats. So I'd look more at the 31 there, and that could go against the Saints. And what stands out about this game is Trubisky, his next win is 19, that big Saints number. So he could pick up number 19 against the Saints. Notice something that I should have caught before the game, but now what really stands out is, remember when Sean Payton just beat the Jacksonville Jaguars? He got his 123rd win in the regular season. Jacksonville Jaguars 123, but he got his 131st win all time. And remember, Super Bowl equals 131 with the alphabetic order. It equals 112 with the reverse alphabetic order, like Jaguars equals 112. And this game was 112 days before the Super Bowl. And we also had that news story about the construction in New Orleans of the Hard Rock Hotel with the partial collapse, and the Super Bowl's in Hard Rock Stadium. So the Super Bowl numbers are definitely there. And then you also had Pope Francis accidentally tweeting or hashtagging or whatever it is on Twitter with the Saints. So that Super Bowl number really jumps out there for Peyton with the win. But yeah, just on the surface, the fact that Trubisky can pick up those 19s against the Saints, that definitely jumps out. And then also because in the all-time stats, the Saints could get the 11th loss in the 31st game, that stands out as well. The riddle for the Saints to win on the surface would be for them to improve to 6-1, kind of like 61, the 18th prime number, because Bears equals 18 in the most pure cipher. So if the Saints lost, they would be 5-2. Pope equals 52. Hold on, let me see how this lines up with the Pope, since the Pope was involved in the story with them a weekend earlier. So October 20th, 2019 to December 17th, 2019. It's 58 days before Pope Francis' birthday. Pope Francis equals 58. Huh. And Pope's 52. Pope Francis, 58. If Saints lost, they would be 5-2, 58 days before Pope Francis' birthday. Pope is 52, Pope Francis is 58. Okay. The game's 61 days after Trubisky's birthday. Getting 61, 18th prime, Bears equals 18. The way that could go against him is Saints are trying to improve to 6-1. So last week, Marone was not able to get his 19th win as a coach over the Saints. But on the other side, you know, Sean Payton was going for his 123rd win at Jacksonville Jaguars, 123. So if Trubisky won, he'd be 11-7 at home. Illinois won 17 as well. That's another thought. Spelling something wrong here. All right. But yeah, those 19th wins, those are big numbers there with the Saints. So look at it some more. The Ravens and the Seahawks. Big game right here. If the Ravens lost, they would be 4-3. Seattle Seahawks is 43. If they lost, they'd be 2-2 away. Ravens 79, the 22nd prime. So that stands out. If the Seahawks lost, they would be 5-2, kind of like the reflection of 25. Ravens is 25. Caller?
Hey, what's going on, Zach?
Hey, man.
So just one quick question about the Giants game. People are talking about that this might very well dictate possibly the Rookie of the Year. So I was just wondering if you had any clues towards the Rookie of the Year possibly for the NFL this year.
I hadn't thought about that, but I mean that kind of chatter this early in the season is just like I just think like the weekly stuff just to get people talking. I don't think you can name the Rookie of the Year in Week 7.
Yeah, no. Obviously, but I was talking about Gematria wise. Have you ever been able to do that?
I don't think I've ever tried to even look at that before. But what I would do is if there's a day that's out there that they name the Rookie of the Year, I might measure from the rookies' birthdays to the day that they give out the award. Could be a big clue there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, welcome, man. See you. Okay, but Ravens lose 4-3. Seattle Seahawks 43. Seahawks won their only Super Bowl with 43 points. The Ravens are 2-3 versus the Seahawks. If they lost, they'd be 2-4. Seahawks is 24 in the most pure cipher. And let's see. The game's on Harbaugh's 28th day of his age. Seattle's 28. Lamar Jackson could also fall to 4-3 away against Seattle Seahawks 43. If Ravens lose, they will be 4-3. So the 43 can hit the Ravens in two ways: the overall record and Lamar Jackson's away record. Wilson, he could get his 38th regular season loss. Ravens is 38, so that's the one other thing to consider. Caller?
What's going on, Zach? How you doing?
Hey, man, how are you?
Pretty good. Last night in Vegas, man, I'm at the Rio now, so I was trying to see one team that, if you can, the Super Bowl for your best thing. I was gonna put a prop in.
Well, I think just what we were talking about a few minutes ago was Sean Payton picking up that 131st win 112 days before the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 112, 131. It's hard to ignore the Saints being in the big game. And for who they would have to play right now, it's tough. But Brady Breeze could be the one that they set up. Two old timers.
Right. I ain't gonna do where I'm at now, Rio. They be grabbing. William Hill let you do it, but I ain't at the Hooters today. But or downtown Fremont. But they only let you pick who's gonna go. So they don't let you put like the teams that's gonna play against. They don't have a prop for that. They just got either go to the Super Bowl. So I can't play two teams. So I just want to do one team. So if it does go Brady and Breeze, who would you a favorite Breeze?
Well, remember, we've seen all these 103 tributes this year, the 27th prime, and if the AFC won the Super Bowl, AFC and NFC would be tied at 27 apiece. So, let me check some real quick. Saints and Patriots both equal 37. If Brady won the Super Bowl, he'd be 7-3. So wait a minute. You have to pick who's going to be in the Super Bowl or who's going to win the thing.
I'm gonna do who's to win because who's to get there is not. It pays more to win. So I'd rather do. I'm gonna put little to make more. So I'd rather do the to win.
Let me see something real quick.
Yeah, I just want to play one team. Whoever's gonna win. Like I ain't sweating. I ain't gonna put much on it, but I just wanted to get your final thoughts. While I'm here, I'm gonna play a little. Put a prop bet on it.
Yeah.
I like the Saints too. I was telling my boy yesterday, it's either Saints or Green Bay. So I mean, I agree.
Yeah, the Sean Payton riddle with his 131st win, 112 days of the Super Bowl. Those are both big Super Bowl numbers. So I like the Saints being in it. I'd like to say that they beat Brady and co, but yeah, again, just all these 103 rituals, the 27th prime, man, it's got me thinking the AFC's probably going to win the thing if they're there. So.
Right. So you think Brady, and that'll be what 6 or 7? That'll be his 7th ring.
It would be his 7th ring. Yes, it would. So.
Saints at the 27, 27 thing. All right. So between them to. I probably play the Saints because the Patriots, if they doing so good right now, they basically the favorites to win it already. Like they at least, you know what I mean?
It doesn't pay very well. Yeah, I do hear you. I hear you.
Yeah, okay. And I don't want to hold you too long, but before this Nationals game come on, I know you favor the Nationals, but yeah, I'm out there. The Wyoming Nationals, like the strongest winner to me. That 19-19, and they become 20-19 all time, right? In 2019.
Exactly, and they'd be 8-2 in the postseason for the manager, and Washington Nationals is 82. So, and the Cardinals would get their 77th. Well, a 77th loss of the season in D.C., the land of 77 on the day, leaving 77 days left in the year.
Yeah, I got to go on and do Washington. Only reason why I don't, because I played the Yanks, but I got Houston in the parlay. But the parlay with Houston, I got the Washington. So I don't want to, since Houston went in there, I need the Nationals, but I really want to double down on the Nationals. This sounds so good that I'll probably go ahead and, I'll probably go ahead and play the Nationals, man. I'm going to play the Nationals.
All right, man. Good luck. Cheering for you.
All right, so, man, I appreciate you.
Hey, if the Nationals won the World Series, double check the math, but if the Nationals won the World Series, I think they would get their 105th win of the season, and Nationals equals 105, just like the full name of that Steve Scalise guy who's connected to the riddle. So you might want to double check that. I think that's right, though.
And I just remember when you just said that, it was this caller they used to call, and he was like, I can tell you, he be beating around the bush. I know you know what I'm talking about, but he be making far predictions like in the fighting. And I remember him a long time ago. He was like, watch out for them Washington Nationals.
Yeah.
And his predictions do be off, but I remember in Washington it started getting on the road that time. But he was like, Washington was going to do something real big. You remember the caller I'm talking about?
No, you're right. It's the same guy who said the Bengals were going to win the Super Bowl, but he did like the Nationals once they get hot.
Okay.
Yeah. No, he was right about the Nationals. Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought about it. And they making Houston, man, I'm watching the game now. They making Garrett Cole, he's 19-0 now when Houston wins his last 19. They just making him like a god, pretty much, unbeatable, untouchable, the best thing ever. So I can see Washington going in and upsetting Houston.
Yeah, they'd get that 105th win. Yep.
Yep. And I was thinking about, Geronimo got injured yesterday in that Green Bay game.
Exactly, man. Exactly. I think that was some ritualistic shit. Yep.
Oh, okay. Bet we on the same page. Okay. All right, I'll let you get back to it.
All right. Yeah, see you.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All
right, take care. Okay. So, again, on the surface, Seattle Seahawks, 43, big number with them. They beat the Ravens. They fall to 4-3. Jackson would be 4-3 away, but got to consider that Wilson could get his 38th loss in the regular season versus the Ravens. That's possible. I like those 43s more, though. So I'll think a little bit more about that one. I guess Carroll could get his 95th all-time loss, too. Baltimore's 95. That's one other thing that's there. He could also get his 95th win with the Seahawks, though. I like that better in the regular season. So does he get the 95th all-time loss or 95th regular season win over Baltimore? I think, again, when it comes to regular season versus all-time, it's better to look at regular season and the regular season. And a lot does really line up for Pete Carroll just week after week. He got his 137 win all-time last week in Cleveland, 137, the 33rd prime, Cleveland 33. Caller?
Yeah, what's going on, Zach? This Chris.
Hey, Chris.
I think the Vikings is good for this week.
Did I get to that game yet? Hold on. What did I say about the Vikings game? I think I was liking the Vikings too. I got to go back to what I said about that game.
Cause guess what? They play the Redskins Thursday night. Guess what?
What's that?
Guess what? The Vikings got a ring on Thursday night at the when they go against the Redskins at home. There's this tight end named called Steve Jordan.
Right.
They honoring him next Thursday night at the Vikings. So Vikings might lose next week to the Redskins.
That'd be something. Have to keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, what I like.
They just post that just a few minutes ago.
Okay, I'll check that out. What I liked about Minnesota is they could get to 5-2. Minnesota's 52, and Zimmer could also pick up his 52nd win. Minnesota's 52, so is Ford Field where the game's at. So I like that double 52 tribute.
Yeah, that's what I said. They might win. They might beat the Lions this week, but when they play the Redskins Thursday night, they might lose that game. They might fall to 5-3.
Is that game in Minneapolis?
Yeah, that's in Minnesota next Thursday night. Cousins go back to Washington. You know they got to paint the narrative.
Yeah.
He used to play for them, so
That's true. That's true.
yeah. So I see what they doing.
Okay, Minneapolis equals 62. That's another good number for the Vikings, though. If they won their next 2 games, they could get to 6-2. But I'll look at that. The guy who they're retiring for. So I appreciate that.
Okay.
All right, man.
All
All right. Thanks, Chris. See you, man. Okay. For our friend out in Arizona, if you want to call back, the line's open. We had Chris on the line when he called in. Let's get back down to where we were. All right, Eagles at Cowboys. Both teams 3-3. And 7 equals 65 like Philadelphia. So, see something real quick. Yeah, 7 equals 25 too. So the Eagles could get that 25th win over the Cowboys. Cowboys would lose 4 straight if that happened. They'd stay on 65 losses as well. 7 equals 65 and 25. Wentz could pick up his 15th loss on the 15 date numerology. His 15th away loss, that is. Or he could stay on the 14 because Dallas Cowboys is 43, the 14th prime. Wentz is 2-3 versus the Cowboys, and he's 1-2 at Dallas. That's tricky because Cowboys is 33, but Dallas is 13. Dallas does have an S, so it's also 22, but that 13 definitely plays more. So his stats conflicting. Caller?
Yo, Zach, when they're out in Vegas, because I just got back from Vegas, right?
Right.
Can you hear me?
Well, it was a little bit broken up at first, but it sounds better now.
Okay, so I just got back from Vegas. I heard somebody just called in. They were out there looking for futures. You're not going to be able to find that matchup bet. The only place that has it is William Hill. And when I was there, they did offer because the guy went over to the screen, but they just didn't have it at that time was there because there's so many options with that. Think about it. You got to have every team and every option. So that's why most casinos aren't going to offer that. The best place to find it is online.
Yeah.
Now, William Hill does offer it. I was at this, I think it's called OYO, the casino. It's behind the Tropicana. But when I was there, he just didn't have it. Now, when I was downtown, there was a casino that said that they would take, like you could bet on who's going to win the national championship in college, with the AFC or NFC or the Super Bowl. They'll do that. I found a casino that would do that because a lot of them won't even do that. But they just didn't offer that matchup bet because there's so many options that come with that bet. So many variables with it.
Right.
So, I mean, I just wanted to tell that call that because you're not going to find that probably. You're not going to find that bet, man.
All right, yeah, that's a good tip.
Online. And the skull and bones ritual with the baseball, if the Astros move forward and play the Nationals, I mean, do you see a narrative for either one of those teams winning?
Well, here, let me double check that what I wrote's correct. I believe if the Nationals won the World Series, they'd get their 105th win of the season. Like Nationals is 105, and like the full name of Steve Scalise is 105. So
well, that's interesting, man, because I was almost thinking like it looks like they just want the Nationals to look like they're roll feeders right now, so then they get more money on the Nationals if they play the Yankees or the Astros. Because we know it's all a mind fuck, every bit of it.
Right.
So that's what they look at. They're like, oh, Nationals are the hottest team in baseball. So then people start pounding the Nationals in so they can get the Astros or the Yankees through.
Right.
But,
right.
Yeah. That being said, I mean, if there's a narrative for the Nationals, I think maybe that's worth a little bit.
They would get their 105th win of the season if they won, and Nationals does equal 105. So does Steve Scalise's full name, and again, Steve Scalise, the shooting is part of this riddle. So.
And that's where this riddle is. And I'm glad you caught that before because I got that at 10.25. $100 pays $1,025 on that if it comes through. So that's good because I get back most of my baseball losses with that. So it's no sweat. See, that's what's so beautiful about this. Still able to pick up something better than 10-1 right before the playoffs.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
Later.
See it. Yeah, that's what I was saying. It was probably worth $10 to do a Nationals Astros World Series just for the postseason. We saw that Skull and Bones thing. There was something to that. So, and then I mean the other thing that's nice is, because it did pay 10-1. The guy who went big on the Yankees, he put down an insurance bet. If the Yankees make it, he's good to go. But he put down his insurance bet with Astros and Nationals, and if that hits, he'll come out ahead either way. So that is what's nice about this knowledge. Even if you find your riddle went south, you can usually put the pieces of the puzzle together and still stay ahead of the game. Caller?
Zach, this Chris.
Yeah?
Guess what? Breaking news. Guess what Jalen Ramsey went to?
The Chiefs?
Nope. Guess what he went to? The Los Angeles Rams.
Oh, the Rams, huh? Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, he went to the Rams. They gave up two first rounders, 21 and 20 pick, and they gave up another pick for the fourth round in 2021.
All right, I'll look at that right now and see what the deal is with his birthday and everything. See what kind of ritual we got going. Appreciate that. Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome, man.
All right, take care. All right, so Jalen Ramsey, he ended up going to the Rams, huh? Ramsey to the Rams. I guess it's in the name, huh? So his birthday is in 9 days. He went on the 15th, right? Rams equals 15, so traded on the 15th. 9 days before his birthday. Let's see. Jalen Latrell Ramsey, 67, the 19th prime. 211, 47th prime. 113, Los Angeles, CA 113. Just trying to see what else could be here. Jalen Ramsey. Huh. Okay, but on the 15th, Ramsey to the Rams. Okay, I get it. He's 24 years old. If you use the rule for S, Rams is also 24. Okay, Eagles, Cowboys. Finish up. This is Sunday Night Football. Home teams are 3-3 on Sunday Night Football. Dallas Cowboys 43, but that could become their record for away or home teams. So again, the 7, it being week 7, the numbers that come off of 7 are favorable for the Eagles. Again, you could make an argument for Wentz winning or losing based on his away record. If he did win, he'd be 3-3 versus the Cowboys. Cowboys 33, but if he lost, he'd be 1-2 at Dallas. Dallas 13, so tricky. If Peterson got the win, he would get his 33rd win. Cowboys 33, and he'd stay on 22 losses. Dallas 22. Caller?
I know we're talking about football and all that, but you guys were mentioning the Washington Nationals. If they did play the Astros, there's a funny thing here. The road record for the Astros, they have 115 wins at Washington.
115, so maybe they wouldn't win any there.
Yeah, so that could be a clue. And then their next win would be 130 at home against the Nationals.
Washington.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's definitely some clues there. And, they have 207 losses, the Astros do, against the Nationals. If they lost 4, they would have 211, like 112.
Right. 211 is also the 47th prime, and DC's 47.
Yeah, they played 451 games. If they played 7 more or 6 more, like if it went 4-2, So there's definitely some clues there for that. So I think that's actually looking pretty good.
Yeah, there's been some big clues. The Skull and Bones thing, and did you see what I did on the whole Steve Scalise thing?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I've been following. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, there's a lot of clues there. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then one of the guys called in about the football prop bet for the Rookie of the Year. One of the prop bets that I'm looking forward to doing is Jimmy Garoppolo for Comeback Player of the Year. If you type in Comeback Player of the Year, it sums to 107 and 118, and
his name's
James
118.
Garoppolo.
Yeah, 118.
Yeah, his name sums to that too. So
Perfect.
I definitely think that he'll win that award. So if you guys could. If anybody's listening that wants to put a prop bet, that's probably a good one.
What's that payout? That bet makes a lot of sense.
I haven't been able to find it yet online, but I've been doing a lot of research on it. So as soon as I find one, I'm going to put a bet on it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I could definitely see that one. So
yeah, because they're undefeated. He's playing well. Team's a playoff team now. He's probably going to win that award.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. All right, man.
All right, thanks. Okay. So Peterson, the coach of the Eagles, would make sense with a W. Dak could get his 22nd loss all time. Eagles is 22. His regular season stats, if he lost, he'd be 19-9, kind of like 199, which is the 46th prime, and Dallas, Texas equals 46. A little bit mathematical. He's 2-1 at home. If he lost, he'd be. That's versus the Eagles. He's 4-2 versus the Eagles, and 2-1 at home. If he lost, he'd be 2-2. Eagles is 22-31. Dallas is 13-22. He became 4-3 again. Dallas Cowboys 43 as well. Caller?
Hey, Zach. Do you mind if I run through the Geronimo ritual last night?
Please, I would love to hear.
Okay. Well, first I'm going to start with the sideline announcer, the lady on the field. Her name is Lisa Salters, and her name equals 135 and 63, like Native American and Indigenous. Equals 63 for the 63 state numerology.
Right.
She was given the update on Geronimo's injury and was saying that he had a possible concussion and chest injury. Well, that just automatically made me think of a concussion dealing with the head or skull, and chest injury, like how the Apache leader Geronimo died of pneumonia. Allison wears the number 81, and 81 spelled out in words equals 135, like Native American. Also, he was hit by Tracy Walker. Tracy Walker equals 47 in the most pure cipher. 47 like president. And from last night's game to the anniversary death of Herbert Walker Bush is 47 days. Also for another 63 from Bush's death on November 30th to Tracy Walker's, his upcoming birthday on February 1st, is 63 days. Back to 47. Whenever you spell out 47 in words, you get 49. And from Bush's death, again, to Allison's upcoming birthday on January 18th is 49 days. And with the whole thing with it being 41 days after Crosby's birthday, remember his middle name is Walker. Right. So you have another Walker, and so that makes me think of number 41, the president, and how skull and bone equals 41.
Right.
And whenever you punch out George H.W. Bush, that equals 51. Like Geronimo equals 51, Indian equals 51, Geronimo also equals 96. Like how when week 6 is built out equals 96, and then how it was 96 days before Geronimo Allison's birthday last night.
Very good work. Very good work.
I just noticed, like maybe 10 minutes ago, I'm going to have to look more into this, but I seen that Stafford on his passing he was 18 of 32. And in 1832, the year was the year of the Black Hawk War between the U.S. and Hawk tribes. And numbers stand out in that one because the 77 thing last night with the Packers in this war, there's 77 U.S. soldiers that died, and I don't know if this is kind of more of like a revenge type thing maybe that they put on, because they said that May 14th is the day that this war started, and May 14th to last night's game was 153 days, and indigenous equals 153.
Huh. And the Chicago Blackhawks won yesterday.
Right, and I was going to mention them. The Chicago Blackhawks equals 322.
Right.
So I don't know. I'm going to have to look more into that side, but that's what I had for you.
Well, amazing work once again. Keep it up, Kayla. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, take care.
Bye.
Yeah, I even forgot to talk about that. How Geronimo got laid out. So it looked like he got hit hard. So I imagine he was hurting. Okay, so yeah, the Eagles and Cowboys is pretty tight. To me, it looks like maybe a few more things are lining up here for the Eagles, though, than the Cowboys. Again, it makes sense with Peterson with the win. Wentz, you can make an argument either way. Dak, I think the argument's more convincing for Dak to lose, but I'm going to look at it some more. If Garrett didn't lose, he'd stay on 65 all-time losses. Philadelphia 65. But again, I'd rather look at those regular season stats. And again, something we can keep an eye on in real time, knowing what we know about the home and away records. Good idea to keep an eye on home and away. Do home teams go 7-7 in week 7? You'd get your 777s. Maybe by the time Sunday Night Football rolls around, well, based on whatever the record are for home teams for the day, we might be able to project what would make sense here with the Cowboys and this last Monday Night Football game. You got Tom Brady, born in 77, and I know they just suspended Michael Bennett today. I'm going to have to look into that. But this game right here on a date with 70 numerology, the Patriots could improve to 7-0, and if the Patriots did win, home teams would become 5-3 on Monday Night Football for the season. It'll be the 8th game because there was a doubleheader week 1. Home teams would fall to 5-3 on Monday Night Football. Patriots 53. So that definitely stands out. The narrative to go against the Patriots is they could pick up their 54th loss in the regular season against the Jets. Jets are that team with that double 54 connection, the year of Super Bowl 54. Caller?
Hey, I think there's only 11 games this week because there's 4 teams on a bye.
Well, so there should be 14 games, right? 28 teams play.
I think there's only 11 on Sunday.
Oh, well, Thursday, Monday. There should be 12 on Sunday, and then 1 on Thursday, 1 on Monday.
Okay, so 14 total, right?
Yeah, 14 total. Yeah.
All right,
thanks, man. And here, let me call back this gentleman. He called in a bunch of times, so I know he's got something important to say.
Hey, Big Zach.
Hey, thanks for calling in.
Okay, thank you, sir. Real quick, Cole, another Skull and Bones sighting here. I was reading in the paper today that in his last 24 starts, he was 22 and 2 in his last 24 starts. His team. Today he won it again. In his last 25 starts, the team went 23-2. That's basically 3-2-2.
Wait, in his last 25 starts, they've lost 2 times or 3 times?
2 times.
Okay, 2-3-2.
But what happened was he got his 23rd win in the last 25 games as the team. So 23-2. So if you put 2 losses and 23 wins, that's backwards of 3-2-2. 23. He's 23-2
in his last 25 starts.
Huh. Very interesting. Okay.
All right, bud.
All right,
That's what I
appreciate
got.
it. Thanks, man. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay. Yeah, Skull and Bones 41. Just, it's looking like that's what it is. I talked about how if the Astros did win today, I favored the Yankees because today was 237 days after Severino's birthday, and had the Yankees won, they would have got their 237th postseason win all time. I thought that was the winning clue. There were some things there that were going for the Astros, so I'm not shocked they won. But I said if the Astros won today, they'd probably win tomorrow because Yankees would fall to 4-3 in the postseason if they lost today and tomorrow. Astros is 43. New York Yankees is 191, the 43rd prime. Maybe the Astros do win the series 4-1. And that's the Skull and Bones number. Okay, but the prayer here for the Patriots, they got two things, or not for the Patriots, the prayer here for the Jets, they got two things that could go in their favor. They could get the 54th win versus the Patriots. And the other thing is, well, if the Patriots lost, they'd be 30-30, kind of like 30-30 on MNF. You know, MNF equals 33. So it's possible. New York's 33. And then the other thing is Brady's on 213 regular season wins. Monday Night Football equals 213. So he could stay on it. But again, that home team record on Monday Night Football, that definitely goes against the Jets. And also the fact that the Patriots could become 7-0 on the 70-date numerology stands out. Darnold's 5-10 in the regular season. If he lost, he'd be 5-11. 11's the 5th prime. He's 3-5 at home. So, but again, I'm going to advise on Monday Night Football. Again, wait till the Sunday games are completed because we've seen 2 weeks in a row, and we didn't really check it before that, but we've just seen the last 2 weeks. What foretold Monday night was what the overall home and away record was for the week, and potentially even the season, which we'll keep track of. So again, home teams have a losing record coming into this week. They're 41 wins, 50 losses, and 1 tie. So, again, home field advantage so far hasn't been that great of an advantage this season. But that's it for the surface level stuff right now. There's probably like 3 games there that look pretty good just on the surface level stuff. So I'm going to have to dig deeper to get more convincing arguments for some of these other games. But it already looks like some of the games based on the surface level stuff, they probably won't want to touch them this week just because too back and forth. So, let me check in with the chat here real quick. Jalen Ramsey traded to the Rams. Yeah, we talked about that a few minutes ago. Ramsey to the Rams on the 15th. Rams equals 15. So, little riddle there. The Ravens and Seahawks game. Again, we haven't made any calls yet, but I think things look a little bit better for the Seahawks in this game. There's one thing going in the Ravens' favor. There's quite a few things going for the Seahawks. So I'll just do that one more time since I saw that was a question in the chat. Okay, so if the Ravens lose, they'll be 4-3. Seattle Seahawks is 43 in the most pure cipher, and Lamar Jackson would also become 4-3 away with a loss. And Pete Carroll with a win would get his 95th win with the Seahawks. Baltimore's 95. The concern is that Russell Wilson could get his 38th regular season loss because Ravens is 38. So that's the only thing I really see going against the Seahawks. But I'll look at it a little bit more. Also, if the Ravens lose, they'd be 2-4 versus the Seahawks. Seahawks equals 24 in the most pure cipher. So there's about four good things for the Seahawks and 1 for the Ravens. And it feels like the Seahawks are doing things this year. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the Seahawks started 8-1. They're really hyping up Russell Wilson. Today, I had ESPN going on in the background while I was decoding this, and a lot of talk about Russell Wilson, MVP of this year. Everyone was in consensus agreeing with that. They think it's Russell Wilson. Jared, remember, we thought this might be a special year for Russell Wilson. I talked about that in the spring when they came out with the schedule. Again, Russell Wilson equals 54. His first game was against Cincinnati. He's born in Cincinnati. Seemed like a tribute. Russell Wilson also equals 81. So if the Seahawks began the season 8-1, I would see that being another Russell Wilson tribute. He'd have to lose his next 3 games to get to 5-4. I don't think that's going to happen. So they got a streak of bird teams here. Ravens, Falcons. Okay. And, well, maybe I got to think more about what I'm saying, because I'm noticing the next game at the Falcons, if they lost, they'd be 10-7 there. Seattle 107. That's another big number with them. Let's see. If they won against the Ravens, they'd be 6-1. Falcons. That Week 9 game's very winnable. Yeah, we'll take it week by week, but the way the Falcons are playing, things haven't been good for them, so I'll make sure these notes are posted. Of course, we'll do a lot more updates on them as the week goes on, but all the main stats are there if you want to use the cheat sheet to look for the Gematria syncs with the numbers, because that's what I got to do next. But it takes a while to compile all this and get it all organized, so got the brunt of it done. All right, let me check in with the chat again. Ravens equals 52. You're right. If you use the exceptions, you're right about that. Ravens, if you do use the exceptions, because it's got a V and an S in it, so it would be this one where Ravens is 52. It is true. I like just using the most pure ciphers, though. They seem to hit more. Again, Seattle Seahawks 43. Again, they won that only Super Bowl that they won with 43 points. And that was Super Bowl 48. Seahawks 48. It's also 24, like how Baltimore could fall to 2-4 versus the Seahawks. So we'll look at it more, though. Yes, I will look. Yeah, thanks, Chris. I will look at the Ring of Honor for the Skins Vikings game week 8. If Minnesota wins this week, they'll be 5-2. They'd have a chance at 6-2 because Minneapolis is 62. But yeah, you never know. Kirk Cousins' humiliation ritual, losing to his old team, the Redskins, is possible. So check it out. All right, you guys, we'll wrap it up there. Be back tomorrow. Probably start live streams now that we moved the live stream to an earlier time in the day, which we've done all throughout the baseball season because baseball games start so early. But now that we're to that part of the season where most games start in the evening, afternoon time, probably do the live streams more in the late morning, around noontime, West Coast time, early afternoon, East Coast time, just so it gives me more time to look at the games and get all the notes together and then present them. I think it's better to do live streams that way, just have everything decoded and then present it and let people call in if they have additional observations rather than watching me decode because it takes extra time. Here, we got another caller here. Caller?
Hey, any thought on the Chiefs-Broncos game?
Yeah, we went over every game.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, no problem, man. I know some of you guys weren't here from the beginning, but yeah, we did go over every single game. We just did our light decode. And if you rewind the video, the first game we went over was Chiefs-Broncos because it's Thursday night football. And again, just since he's watching right now, the main thing that stood out to me about this game is that Mahomes can improve to 10-3 away. Broncos is 103, just like how we watched Rodgers pick up his 103rd win earlier this year. And that reminds me, remember, State Farm equals 103, just like how you have the Mahomes and Rodgers State Farm commercial. Interesting that they might both get the 103 ritual against the Broncos this year. And Again, if the Chiefs won, they'd be 4-0 away. TNF is 40. If the Broncos lost, they'd be 1-3 at home. TNF's 13. KC, I think, is actually 13 as well. Yeah, KC's also 13. So I could plug that in there for the notes for another 13. The one riddle on the surface that could go against the Chiefs is if they lost, they'd fall to 4-3, and Colorado is 43. But they don't call them the Colorado Broncos. So, already seen one 103 ritual with the Broncos this year. Wouldn't be surprised if that was the winning stat again. And Flacco, the one thing for him is his all-time stat. If he got the win, he'd get his 64th all-time home win. Kansas City Chiefs is 64. But again, I'd rather use the regular season than the all-time. If Flacco didn't win, he'd stay on 98 regular season wins, and Kansas City Chiefs is 98. So, plug in this note here too about KC equals 13. So yeah, if you got here late, take it from the top. We went through the games in order, starting with Thursday Night Football. If you go to ESPN.com, just the same order they have the games listed as the same order we went through them in. All right, we'll leave it there. Be back tomorrow. Have a great... Oh, hold on. We got one more caller. Caller?
Hey, what's up, Zach?
Hey, man.
Hey, I heard you say something about the Colorado thing with the 43.
Yeah.
And, there's another Colorado thing, too. If Andy Reid wins that game, he's going to stay at 38 losses, and Colorado's 38.
That's true, and that's the better Colorado number.
Yeah, that's the one that hits all the time in baseball.
Yeah. Yep.
Just want to point that out. Okay.
All right. Appreciate it. Thanks, man. And actually, while he's at it, I see another one. Denver, Colorado equals 70. Andy Reid could get his 70th win with KC in Denver, Colorado. And he is right that he could stay on 38 all-time losses. So, but what's really grabbing my attention is that 103. Mahomes becoming 10-3 away. And staying on, there's one more devil's advocate narrative. Again, we'll look at all this a lot more. If Mahomes did lose, he'd be 17-7 in the regular season, 17 the 7th prime in week 7. So, I'll do a whole lot more decoding, try to find more concrete stats. But, again, scan the notes. Some of these games do look pretty good on the surface. Others need more work. So, the notes are posted, front page of the Patreon. Be sure to check it out. And, again, continue to update them throughout the week. All right, have a great rest of your day, your evening. See you tomorrow, Truth Seeker.